Welcome to the Glow Up Gyrl podcast. I'm Kyra Mitchell Lewis, and thank you all for joining. Hope everyone is doing well out there. Hope you all are having a fabulous Thursday so far. So, all right, we have to catch up. I feel like it's been a while since we last spoke. So let's rewind time and go back to our last episode. All right, so the last time we were together, we were talking all about if it's time for you to leave a job and the things that you should do to prepare yourself to go. So I gave you 5 things that you should do. So I'm going to just recap those 5 really quickly here. So one was make sure you have a plan. So, like if you are thinking you need to look for a job, figure out what that plan looks like, preferably don't quit a job without a job. But, obviously I am not living in your shoes. I do not know what your everyday is, but I have found that it's things go a lot smoother when you plan. All right. Number 2, make a new budget. So whether that's you planning to take a different job that maybe is paying more money or paying less money, either way, just make sure that you have looked at your budget and what it's going to take to cover your monthly finances when you make that type of transition. Number 3 is make sure you're saving your work files, your samples, any work that you want to take as part of your portfolio. Better to be doing that in a monthly data load versus like waiting until you're in a place of sort of panic and looking for a job and needing to pull together all of your work samples. And then lastly, be patient and trust the timing. Unfortunately, we can't snap our fingers and get a new job most times the next day. But I think if you're patient and you trust the timing in your journey, that things will line up and they will work out the way they need to work out for you. Okay, so let's move on to today's topic. Today, I am talking to all of my creative people out there, the ones who want to figure out how to bring their creativity into everything they do, including their work. So this is a formula for turning your creativity into a career. So maybe you're thinking you'd like to go into a more creative route in your career, but you're not really sure what steps you should take, or you're just a little nervous, or in reality, you're wondering, is it really possible to make a living while being a creative at heart? Whether you're a student trying to figure out what to do after graduation, or you are a professional who's thinking about making a career change, you can do something creative in your career, whether that is working, for someone or working for yourself. So I'm going to share some ways with you today to channel your creative skills into what we hope to be is a rewarding career for you. All right, so let's talk about getting started. All right, so while there are many paths to developing this career for yourself, the first steps are very similar to a lot of things that you tend to do in your career or in your life, right? We know that a strong foundation will help you to navigate your way and find success. So number 1, excuse me. Number 1, let's talk about identifying your goals. Figure out what you want to do, what you're passionate about, what you might be drawn to. So that would be the number 1 thing. So if you're like, I'm creative and I want to do something, is it that you are a creative writer? Is it that you are you're a painter, you're good at drawing, you're a designer, you're good at interior design, you're good at fashion design. So 1 is just to figure out what is the thing that you are passionate about and identify that. Then secondly, you want to do your research. There are a lot of careers that, creative careers that do pay well. And if you, want to figure out what works best for you, you're going to want to research, all about the potential opportunities that exists for that career, and also, figuring out like the finances as well. And so I think like doing the research will help you to determine, so you might say, I'm actually good at several things, right? You might be, most people, a lot of people I know, not all people, but I do know a lot of people who are designers. They're also like painters. They're also, they are also good on the art side as well as the graphic design side. So you can determine, I want to research careers in graphic design and what that journey looks like, or I want to research what, an artist might make, or what is the path or the journey for someone who is an artist. All right, then the third thing you want to do is create a portfolio. Organize and promote your work, put together samples that you can post, on an online portfolio, to social media, just a way for you to show people who might be your target audience the work that you do. Now, we talked about in the previous career episode, that was one of the items on our recap list, to pull together when you're thinking about a transition from your job. So can't say it enough that having a portfolio and just keeping it up to date, right? So just monthly plan to set aside a day of the month where you put in all your new work samples. Because I promise you, like, you'll be so much happier to have that already done versus someone asking you for it and then you're like, oh my God, I need to figure it out. I gotta find something. I don't have anything, gotta get it together. And I think like you'll be very pleased with yourself. Okay, number 4 is figure out if you need a secondary job. So you may be saying that, okay, I've identified the goals, I've done the research, got the portfolio, and I've decided that it is actually that I'm really good at, I'm a really good artist and I want to paint and I want to get my artwork into a gallery. Well, we know that might take some time, but you don't want to be tied to a full-time job. So maybe you're going to have to figure out a way to supplement your salary for a period of time until you're able to actually pursue full-time the thing that you're most passionate about and that you want to be doing. And that's in the event, right? If you don't already have a job, you may be coming out of college and saying, I'm going to go full steam ahead into this thing, but I'm going to supplement my income on the backside. And then also, if you are in a full-time job already and you're thinking about a transition, you might be saying, well, I've got some money coming in here and I just need to supplement my income, a little bit more. So I'm going to do a second job on the side. All right, and then lastly, it's planning an exit strategy. So it's really figuring out how do you get to doing the thing that you want to do full time. So you need to figure out like, okay, if I'm going to use a contract graphic designer. So you may say, in my everyday job, I'm making, I don't know, let's just call it $100,000, right? So then you want to figure out how many clients do I need to make that same salary, right? If you've determined that I make 100K and I really need to make, like, I'm fine with transitioning and lateral and making the exact same amount of money, or you may have figured out where you're like, actually, I can make 80,000 and still be fine. So you want to make sure that you are figuring out like, how much do you need to make? How many clients would it take for you to make that same salary? So those are all things that, you'll think about as you get to that place of like doing the research, right? As you're creating a portfolio, and especially before you get to the place of like, do I need a second job to supplement? So you'll just want to make sure that you thought through all of those things. All right, so the strategies again, identify your goals, do the research, create a portfolio, figure out if you need a second job or supplement your income, and then 5, plan an exit strategy. All right, so if you are someone who has figured out and you're thinking, I already know what I want to do. I've done all that stuff, Kyra. I want to work for myself. So cool, cool. So let me just I'm going to give you a few tips of things that will just help you, right, as you continue on this journey to really do the work that you're most passionate about. Number one is budget carefully. Making sure that you have built out a budget. I know it's the one thing that most people really, really hate to do is deal with the financial part, right? But you want to make sure that you have a budget, and you know where your cash flow is going, and that you're able to manage your cash flow, monitor it, figure out what do startup costs look like for this business, what does it look like to maintain this business, and also what does it look like if my income is fluctuating. So one of the things you get really, really spoiled about when you work an everyday job is that you get accustomed to having a same similar paycheck show up into your direct deposit, whether monthly, bi-weekly, weekly, however you get paid. But when you decide to work for yourself, you're going to have to deal with some fluctuating costs. So you need to really build out a budget that helps you to say, these are the weeks. This is what goes out. This is what I'm going to have coming in. And if I hit a bump, then, I've got money here. So really looking at like a year's budget versus even just so a monthly budget is helpful when you are working for yourself. All right, number two, track your time. Time management, time management, time management. And I know as myself, as someone who is creative, that it is not always, you can get lost in creativity, you can get lost in in your work and creating things. So when you don't have a person, when you are working for yourself and you don't have a manager who is, expecting for you to be online or in an office from a certain, from this time to this time, you own your schedule and you are responsible for delivering on the clients that you have. So I suggest make sure you are blocking out time on your calendar for the most important priorities and give yourself enough days, so that you avoid burning out or also just working on something in the 11th hour. I know a lot of people are driven by, like having something to do like last minute, and it's like you live by that, you get excited, and I do on some things, but for the most part, no, I do not. I'm much more of someone who's like planning, got a whiteboard over here where I'm writing out things that I need to do when I am working on like my business, or got a notebook for things that I need to work on during the day for work. Because when you don't have systems and tools in place, I mean, you're setting yourself up for the fail. Okay, number three, acquire business skills. Even if you have to hire an accountant and other people who can help you, it's also really good for you to understand the basics of financial management, the basics of like customer service. So try to find courses online or certificates where you can take, like if for women, Cornell has a really good small business small entrepreneurship like certification course where it really like teaches you about like the basics of business and how to do the legal things, how to set up the financial things, just stuff that like you think about. But then like for me, a lot of the legal stuff just wasn't something that I was comfortable with. Also don't really like the money part that much either. So I mean, having an accountant, having a lawyer on hand are really good things for me. Like I always say, I'm gonna stick in my lane and the things that I'm really good at, and then I'm gonna bring in people who can help me in areas that I have gaps. All right, number four, build connections. Network, network, network. Networking with other creatives and other people who are on similar journeys and paths as you is just really key. I think it also provides opportunities for you to collaborate and learn from other people, but then also it allows for you to make introductions for to potential referrals, right? So get out there. I know it's not always easy for my creative people to get out there and to make those connections, but get out there and network, find some conferences to attend, conferences. Wow, I haven't said that in a while, but maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But get out there and find ways to network. Okay. All right. So that brings us to the end of today. So if you're considering using your creativity right out of college, or if you're looking to transition, I hope these tips will help you. So I'm going to recap one more time. A formula for turning your creativity into a career. So when you're at the point of getting started, so you're trying to figure out like the what I want to do, use these strategies. One, identify your goals, figure out exactly what it is you want to do. Number two, do your research, figure out what that opportunity is, what is the market for it. Also, if there is someone out there that has a job or is doing the job that you want to be doing, find someone, connect to them, set up an informational touch base, learn more from them before you go down that path. I feel like there's so much in the world today. There's so many ways to connect with different people. So I think you can do that to find out as much as you can. Number three, create a portfolio. Number four, figure out if you need to supplement your job. Number five, plan your exit strategy. Figure out, you say you want to do this thing, set a timeline, get a framework in place, figure out how you can be doing that thing full time. All right. And then if you're someone who has moved into working for yourself, what are some tips that you can use daily so that you can focus on being creative and doing the things that you really like to do? One, budget carefully. Make sure you understand what your monthly costs are going to be. Figure out what the startup is and figure out what it looks like if your income is fluctuating. Number two, tracking your time. So making sure that you have systems in place that help you for time management. Number three, acquiring just key business acumen. So even if it's hiring someone to help you with like your financing, your accounting, or your legal or any other professionals, but also just making sure in the background that you do some continuous improvement on yourself just to know the basics. And then number four, making sure you're building connections. So networking with other creatives, with other people who are on similar paths and journeys as yourself in order to learn, collaborate, and then, maybe even get business referrals from them. All right. So I like that. I really enjoyed that topic because I know I have a lot of creative friends and work with a lot of creatives. I too am a marketer / creative and have always, kind of thought about like how to define a lane for myself of being able to do some things that I really, really enjoy doing that are more creative things versus more like, fundamental business things, day-to-day business things. So I hope that you found this helpful. Now, I will say that there is going to be some bonus content that I'm offering you this week. I have some tips on what you can do to bring creativity to a current position. But you can only get that if you head over to our Patreon community and become a member. You'll find that follow-up content as well as additional resources and tips that I drop in weekly. So, like I said, head over there. So before I go, you can head over to Gyrl. You can access previous podcast episodes, resources, and more. You can check out our interview podcast as well that happened in between these weeks. And you can also sign up to be a guest on the show if you'd like to do that. Or if you know someone that you're like, oh my God, I wish Kyra would interview this person, feel free to drop me a DM on Instagram. We're at Glow Up Girl. or send me an email at hello@glowupgirl.com. As I mentioned before, you can head over, you can join our Patreon community and unlock your potential with a Glow Getter membership. It's only $5 a month. So when you think about like how you spend $5, how quickly you spend $5. I mean, maybe even daily. I used to spend $5 daily when I was going to Starbucks every day when I was going into an office. But I have found a way to spend that $5 on just other things, even though I work from home. So just think about being able to go there and getting more exclusive content that helps you with your career, career tips, guidance, resources, and a little behind the scenes as well. Like all this content that I'm creating and putting there is designed to help you create ultimately a career in life that you love. So if you're just someone starting out or you're looking to level up, our membership can help you reach new heights. All right. So be sure you share your thoughts or topics with me. Send me a DM on Instagram. Also, if you're listening on a platform where you can review or rate us, I would love for you to do that as well. Share this podcast with your friends. Please, I would love that. I would appreciate that so much too. Because yeah, sharing is caring, as they say, right? So I would definitely love it if you would share it with your friends as well. Okay, so that is it for this episode. I will see you all next week. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for all of your support. And until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.